this implementation is based on the following paper. However, I only focused on the distribution aspect and not on the GPU efficiency part. So in order to use this, you have to first make a terrain. And then using that terrain, you write some code that uses the same methods as the paper to generate maps. And what these maps do is that they essentially encode information of the terrain into these 2D black and white maps. And so once you have the maps of the terrain, you want to start picking some plants that you want to place on this terrain. And how these plants know where to be put is that essentially they all have something called adaptability parameter values in the form of curves. And each of these curves are what are going to determine where the plant ends up on the terrain. So for instance, you might have a height parameter that starts out where low values give you high adaptability parameters. So essentially what that means is that plant is going to like to be, or it's going to prefer to be near the ground. And that's the simplified view of it, at least. And of course, this uses all of the different maps that we have, so the moisture and the relative height and the slope and the water and such. Once we have all that, we can implement the actual placement algorithm. And essentially, what that's going to do is it's going to generate a Poisson disk distribution of points on the terrain. And it's going to go through each of these points, it's going to stochastically sample a plant, and once it has a plant, it's going to compare that plant against all of the maps, and it gets essentially the terrain information at the point, and it's going to determine a yes or no answer whether or not to put the plant on that position. And there are also 3 layers of plants, so trees, bushes, and smaller flowery plants. So it's going to do this process 3 times over. It's also not optimized at all, so it's extremely slow. Just going into play mode took 2 minutes, so it's not really something you want to use in a game, but it does generate a pretty cool distribution. So we can see here that, for example, we have these kind of crude looking but very green trees close to this little stream in the middle, and that's also where we find a bunch of these smaller plants like little bushes and flowers. As you go higher up, you start seeing less of those and more of these broadleaf oak trees. And you might notice that there's also very few plants growing on the really steep parts. And that's thanks to the placement, the slope map. And up here, there is an abundance of pine trees. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.